Question everything, but the truth shall not be televised. And that's for sure. So with that, you know, being demonized as the criminals of America by the criminals who stole America is mind-boggling sometimes. You know, Malcolm X got a poem out there. I think it's called "The Greatest Crime" or "The Greatest Criminals to Ever Commit Crime" or something like that. But it's a deep poem that he did. You know, because he was talking about how he charged white folks with the greatest theft, white folks with the greatest SX, the white folks with the greatest robbery, the greatest murks, the greatest you name it, you know, in the sense of what the poem was. But when you really look at it, did he lie? Did he lie about them being the greatest of all the atrocities of the world? Because at the end of the day, it's interesting how we get invaded, we get robbed of all our gold, silver, platinum, plumium. We get robbed of our nobility. We get robbed of our identity, heritage, culture. We even get robbed of our creator. But yet, we seen as the criminals of the United States. Make it make fucking sense, y'all. Am I living in an insane asylum? Because at the end of the goddamn day, how the fuck the criminals who did all the crime create criminal law by criminals who created the fake ass law on top of the backs of our law that was already there, that they just obliviated with their invasion, didn't care one bit about the law, morality, or nothing. Oh, it's a pause on that. Why? Because that's the truth. And then turn around and then say that we're the criminals and all y'all out there from other nations go along with it. What kind of bullshit is that? Literally, what kind of bullshit is that? I mean, the mass dudes, the mass mercs, the serial mercs, they've been always the face of all that. But because they control the media, they control the news, they control the output of information of America, our political and economic outlook of our own people, they can manipulate any information they want into their likeness the way they choose. Even now, I'm being called African American and I'm not. I'm not from fucking Africa. I don't even look like Africans. I don't even got the same phenotypes, skeletal types, and none of that shit. We're different people. DNA different, blood different. All that shit is different. But this is where we at. So when you look at some of this stuff, you got to ask yourself, man, how do they get away with this stuff? Because my people hold them accountable for everything that they put out. Literally. Except for the chucking and jiving and cooning niggas that's on contracts that they pay to be on their side. And we all know who they is. You can call them celebrity oath takers. You can call them Freemasons, Illuminati. I mean, shit, Sambos. You can call them all sorts of shit. I mean, appointed representatives, you name it. All these people done sided against their own people. But that's a small population of us. But then put in positions to make it look like they have power when all they doing is just controlling the narrative of oppression that the people that gave them power, who invaded us, allow them to be about. That's it. That's it. The moment that they're not any use for oppressing their own people, then they get discarded. That's how it works. So with that, you know, when you think about some of this stuff, man, a lot of this stuff is based off of y'all. They get away with it because of y'all. All other nations who won't challenge them from nowhere, who was walking around with their heads bowed down to white supremacy and whiteness, even though it's the progenitor of destruction of all our nations as well as Earth itself. You ever did the history, recent history of extinction and when it really started? Most extinction in this modern time starts right after 1492, right after Columbus and them start finding all our lands. Not my words, you can Google this shit. Just what it is. So no, man, when you look at crime today, you're looking at it from the form and eyes of the criminal. Those that created a law that is biased, that supports keeping them in power. That's why law was created, to demonize us, outlaw us, and mass incarcerate us, at the same time exonerating and giving them a privilege or a get out of jail free card on a regular basis of plea down deals. That's just what it is. So with that stated, when you look at the circumstances of us being demonized by these folks who invaded us, you got to start asking yourself, how do a criminal who ain't never been brought to justice for crimes against humanity, who builds an empire on the backs of the people that they Holocaust massacred and genocide, be the ones who control the law? That's why it's called criminal justice. Because at the end of the day, criminals are the ones who wrote the justice. Criminals are the ones who control the justice. Criminals are the ones who can brutalize you on the street corner and not be seen as criminals, even though you're supposed to have a system of due process. But you don't get that. You can get judged right on the streets by one of their officers. And their officers, all they got to say is, I was scared for my life. And they'll get off from what we've been seeing, right? Because that's the game. No different from casual kill. When you look at that reality of back in the day when they was supposedly correcting our children in the house, the Massa's house, Massa's plantation, correcting our children, and when it goes to a place of beating them to the murk that they end up under, they got off based off of them making a mistake when it came to correcting you. Go figure, ain't that still what's happening to this day in different language? Yeah, but hey, when you think about crime in this country, when you think about the criminality of this country, remember, it's the criminals who control the country. Their inheritors who never been brought to justice, who kept all the resources and stolen goods and stolen land and stolen property and stolen every fucking thing, then put a price on it, put a law on it, and then made you follow the laws that they broke in order to get it all. Make it fucking make sense. And then turned around and told y'all the people that actually own the house, own the land, own the resources are the criminals. And you run around holding your purse when you see us walking by. And then go break bread with the criminals who are now fat off of their criminality, eating real good and okay in the positions that they're in based off of their criminality, allow you to get a pass for not doing no crime on you because they already full with all the crime they done did on us. And you break bread with them happily. But just remember, they ever get hungry again, you ever need that land and that resource and that wealth again, they ever see or feel their backs against the wall again on a level of not having like they did when they got here, all they're going to do is betray you like they betrayed all the treaties and everything else they betrayed us under. And if you don't know that, too bad, because ain't ISIS already out there? Because they'll betray you quicker than a heartbeat for their own agenda, because they only love themselves. They only care about themselves. And when criminals do crime, they don't care who they murk in the process, as long as they get the power, the wealth, and the resources. And with that, thank y'all. Because without y'all having anti-black hatred, we wouldn't have the power and the strength to keep on keeping on and pushing through all of it. Because as we continue to rise, continue to push on, continue to get stronger, continue to be able to adopt and adapt to the things that y'all doing to us, we will be mighty again. And guess what? Everybody else ain't gonna be prepared. Because y'all ain't go through what we went through. And that's just the truth. And still going through. And with that, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But it is a question. You let me know. Praise, praise.